How does it look with my hands like this?
Let me look.
Like this.
Looks like you're molesting the table, but it's okay.
Welcome to spring. I am getting really excited, and with all of the rain we've had here in Northern California, Lake Oroville is completely filling up. And hopefully they're going to allow it to be full all the way. Today we're going to be talking about the Wakesurf review methods or methodology that we use and that we've been doing for now 11 seasons. Can you believe that? 11 seasons. So if you've been watching Wake9 videos for the last 10 years or several years, or you've just gone back and looked at some of our old ones, you'll notice some of the videos that we did like this, where I'd be standing on the back of the boat talking with RJ or somebody else, and this was fun, but it was kind of difficult to do. You know, you had boats going by, planes flying overhead, sometimes waves would come and the boat would rotate and the lighting would completely change. And then I had 6 kids or any number of people in the boat that had to just sit and be quiet and not enjoy the lake, you know, not make any noise. And so everybody was getting aggravated at me every time I made a mistake and had to redo it. You know, I'm here in Magalia. We have 26 acres back here and in the woods, and it's beautiful and I love it here, and so I thought this would be a good place. Nobody used to know where Magalia or Paradise was, but now since the campfire destroyed everything up here, right here we're pretty untouched. About 1,500 feet back, it's just destruction. So my plan is about once a week I'm going to do videos like this where I have various topics. It's kind of like a video blog. Today we're talking about the Wakesurf review methodology, and the next video I'd like to talk in detail about all that I have learned when it comes to weighting a surf system boat, a level weighted boat, and how to get the best wave and what we do to dial boats in fairly quickly. And we've done this many, many times, so I think we have some good things to share. But I'd like to hear from you. So in the comments, please tell me what are some things that you think you would like to see in this format, you know, where we can discuss a topic and we can give some of the things that we've learned over the last 11 years, or maybe do some research, or maybe ask me a question that I can go ask a manufacturer or something. So just let me know. Another piece of news, 2 quick ones, is next week we are going to be releasing the Super SE video, the review, part 2, which I've been working on. And a little property news, if you followed the animals that we have, our donkey, Waffles, is having a baby, and she should have her baby in June, and we're really excited. So first, when we talk about how we review boats and why we do certain things we do, there's some overall goals, let's call them principles, that we apply when we do these. And one of them is, I like to say, is you have to treat the way you talk about these boats the same way you would treat talking about one of your friend's wives. For instance, her butt is getting like huge, you know. You don't say stuff like that. You're gonna get slapped by 1 or 2 people. We have to be gentle when we talk about these boats. Your opinion is important, or people wouldn't watch you doing a review, but at the same time, no one needs to hear me tell them why they shouldn't have bought the boat they want, or to not buy the boat that they really want. Okay, my opinion doesn't matter that much. Honestly, I really don't think that nobody needs to hear me tell them that this boat is way better than this boat, because it's so subjective. Now, it is true that some boats don't make a good wake, and some boats do make a good wake. But if you're comparing boats that relatively make good wakes, what does it matter that I think this one is better than the other? You ever watched that movie? If you're older like me, there's a movie called The Dead Poet Society. Robin Williams, he was talking about how you review poetry, and he made fun of somebody who talked about how you look at poetry and you can give it a score, and he just said that was crap. And that's kind of how I think. And I don't mean to throw shade on anybody that reviews boats and puts a score on them. That's up to you if you want to do that. I don't want to do it, because like I said, these are things that you enjoy, that you feel, and that you experience that is unique to you, and it's so subjective. You don't need me to get in the way of that. So that's how I want to start. How do you do that? How do you review a bunch of boats and do this? The first thing is that when you invite boats, don't invite any turds. Boats that you know are going to throw a bad wake, just don't invite them. Don't have them there. Because one, you got a bunch of riders. They're not going to have fun riding crappy waves. And we have had a few turds in the past, but most of the time it's been a good thing. Like, I'll give you an example. We had one year Pavati boats. When they came, they had no idea how to make a surf wave. This is years ago too, before surfing was as popular. And they asked us if they could bring the boat and we could help them make a wave, and we did. And it was so cool because everybody at the event was going and getting sacks from their cars and helping them weight the boat, and they'd learned a ton, and they really went on from there. And we kept all that video in, even though the wave didn't look so great, because Bavati then came back and used that information, and they came back and made a much better wake surfing boat, which was really cool to see that process. But for the most part, and you don't even know about this, but there have been times, for instance, like somebody says, I want to bring this boat. And I say, okay, I've never seen that boat. I don't know how good of a wave it makes. I'm a little nervous, and I don't want you to get hurt. So we have them come early to the event, and I tell them ahead of time, look, let's try to weight the boat. I'm going to get a couple of surfers that I know, and maybe one of my kids or myself. And if it's good, we're going to give the green light, and we're going to have you at the event. And if it isn't so good, then we're just going to tell you, let's not do this. And we were very clear, and we share that with the dealer or the boat manufacturer ahead of time. And this has happened a few times. They take it very well because they know it's not what it's about. It's not about knocking any boat. And we've had it happen where we take a boat out there and it's not making a wave. I remember one boat, it was like to get a wave, it was like 45-degree angle. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. It was like this. We just said, this isn't going to work. And they kind of went, yeah, you're right. And they were very thankful that I let them off the hook. And I had a backup boat, and Mr. Sauce, Dave Sauce, Allison and Erica's parents, they're always providing their boats when we have this happen. So thank you, Mr. Sauce. The second thing is, do your best to make sure or provide help so that every boat that comes there makes the best wave it can possibly make. There's no need to handicap anything, but in other words, if everybody is putting out their best wave, okay, that's important. We do that by making sure that we have drivers or sponsors of the boat. Like, let's say there's a dealer that doesn't have a lot of experience. Well, we make sure somebody that has that boat meets with that dealer and helps teach them how to weight it, or maybe that person just drives it and takes care of it for the dealer. And it's important because you know what? A lot of these boats make great waves stock, but nobody wants to ride those. Nobody does. It's very few, at least nobody that I know. Everybody tweaks them at least a little. I mean, when you buy a boat, you buy 500 pounds of lead, and you're going to put it wherever the heck you feel like putting it. And you're going to move 50 pounds of lead just to get it perfect. You know what I mean? And that's who we are. I hope we always are like that, because we just want that wave to be so perfect, and help every boat be as perfect as possible. That's a really, really good point. And sometimes you'll have a dealer come, or somebody owns their boat, and they insist that they want to put more weight than God should allow on the water. We've had that happen, and we let them do it. We just tell everybody how much weight it has in there. We had a boat, I remember, like that one time where the wave was monstrous, but it was like almost sinking. It wasn't very fun in the end, and it didn't make that boat look so good, but that's what that owner, dealer wanted. For the most part, try to steer that. You know the riders. You know what they're going to want. Help them get there. The last thing, you want to give people information that is objective as possible, that they can see and experience for themselves in your review. What I mean by that is, you may notice in our polar bear video, we have certain angles that are exactly the same. We use the same cameras and we move them from boat to boat. We make sure they're set exactly the same, and we take video from a couple of places. One, right on the side, on both sides, so that's two places. So on the goofy side and the regular, right on the side of the boat, so you can see the wave from that angle. It's not too low, not too high, and you can see the transition, you can see the lip, and not so much the length. Then we go up high around the tower, and we film from that angle, and you can see the length of the wave really well. And then we also make sure we take chase boat footage. So we have another boat, we have a camera, all set the same, that we go, side to side on the boats, and then we vary that angle here a little bit, and I make sure I do that on every single boat. I try to duplicate that. The last thing is, you try to capture riders at different times that show off the boat's capability. In other words, you don't want to just show a little kid or a 100-pound female riding the boat, riding way back boat, because it's kind of misleading. So you try to pick out video that shows good sized riders, different types of riders in different spots in the wake, and especially towards the back of the wave, because when you can show a long wave with a rider that's riding back there comfortably and not fighting so much, it really says a lot, because you're showing how much power that wave has. Also, people going up and down in the transition and so forth. Make sure that when you're giving stats and information in your boat, try not to give so much the things that you can find in the brochure. I remember at one time I put a lot of stats, the exact length of every boat to the inch, or certain facts like that. Well, it's in the brochure. You can go on the website and find stuff like that. But this year, for instance, we calculated the displacement of every boat as we were filming them, what they were showing. And I thought that was really important, because I think displacement is something that really changes the way each boat makes a wave, and you can't compare the Heyday that displaces 9,000 pounds with the FI-25 that displaces 13,000 pounds. It's going to make a completely different wave. But with that amount of displacement they have, how good of a wave do they do? Because then that is the hull. Also, you'll notice our reviews that we try to give something about each boat that really stands out. Sometimes it's the value, it's the price. Sometimes it's this wave is extra long or was extra smooth, or there's different things that we try to point out of each boat that's very special. And then try to name at least one thing that it needs to improve on. Last point here, my ideas have kind of changed over time, and it has to do with the rider reviews. In the beginning, when we used to collect all the rider reviews, they were very valuable. They were just normal people buying a boat for themselves and their family, and they had very kind of interesting things to say. It's gotten to the point where it seems like there's a lot of different review events around the country, and you'll notice that a lot of the same people go to them. I'm not throwing any shade on any of those people, because a lot of them, they do great behind the boat and they're great to film, but they're not the greatest at the written reviews, and I'm starting to notice that more and more. And what I mean by that is, like, over half of these people want to be sponsored by one of these boat companies, or already have a relationship with one of these boat companies. So they're very biased. Not to say that I'm not, but it comes out in the reviews. So it's like a combination of fanboys and wannabe sponsored people, and there are others that aren't. It really come across in the last few years, and it makes me a little more wary on putting up written reviews because of that. At the same time, every time we're out there filming the boats, not only am I filming them, but I'm constantly going and talking to people and finding out, talking to the drivers, talking to the riders, and figuring out how they felt about the wave. What is it that they liked about it, what they didn't, which boards and whatever. And I write notes, and I use that for when I do the final review. Two things to leave you with. When I do a review of a single boat, like I did with the Super SL or other boats, or the SE that I just did, or the Mackay, a boat like that, I don't even put those reviews out unless it's something that I'm really excited about, that I loved and I really enjoyed, or my family really enjoyed. And so that review has one main goal. The goal is to communicate to you with video and my words how much I'm excited about this and why. That's all I need to do. In other words, I don't need to tell you that it was bad, because I don't do bad reviews. You just don't know it, but there have been several times when we've been asked, and we go out all day and spend a bunch of time on a boat, and we just walk away from it. We don't put anything out, because I just kind of go by that motto. If I don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. Sometimes I might say something privately, but not in a public way. I don't have any desire to do that. You might think, well, dude, every time you do a review on a boat, it's like, well, it's the best thing. Yeah, I'm so excited. But it's because I love these boats. And when I do a review, it's one that, man, it got me excited. When we take a boat and use it for a season, it's because that's the boat I want to be in, okay? But when we're doing a polar bear review, it's completely different. One, I already told you, all the boats that we bring are gonna make good waves. It's my job to get out of the way. I can be enthusiastic about wake surfing, but I need to take my bias for which boat that I think is my favorite and put that aside. That's not what I'm there to do. I'm there to communicate and show the videos in such a way, and this is a little trick, a little secret. I can't tell you how many times people have come to me, like nudge, nudge, wink, wink, and they say something to me like, I know which one is your favorite boat, and they'll tell me. And it's not my favorite boat. And the thing is, they watched my review and they heard that this boat was my favorite. and it wasn't. And then somebody else watches the same review and tells me that they think my favorite was this other one. I love that. I did my job if that happens, because what it means is that person watching already has their opinions and their loves and their already formed thoughts about what they want to purchase. They're like, ah, great, it lined up. You know what I mean? So that's great. And because the last thing you want from me is that you go buy a boat, watch my video, and then you come out thinking, boy, that boat was crap. And boy, that's an awful feeling to spend a lot of money like that, not have the confidence that you brought a good boat. Not that we want to lie, but like I said, if the boat comes to the polar bear, it's already going to make a good wave. You know, the review process starts by filtering out who shows up at our review. Other really important thing to remember is that when people watch these videos, they come from completely different places, okay? There really is a person that's going to watch that review and go, oh man, that Heyday is my favorite, because it's $60,000. They don't have any intention of dropping 180 grand. But there's many other things, like how many people do you regularly have in your boat? You know, is it the wave that you want? A boat that makes a good wave, because that brings you the most pleasure, in my opinion. If the boat doesn't have a good wave, don't even buy it. That's just my opinion. Other people, it varies, and the wave is important to them, but maybe they just want a good wave, but the rest of the boat, they want the luxury and all this other stuff, or whatever it is they're looking for. So get out of the way. If I could have titled this video anything different than what I have, it would be just Wakesurf Reviews, Get Out of the Way, okay? Let people see the boat, see the wave. Try to film it in the most impartial way so that people see the same angles. Let them see the wave. Get a feel for it themselves. I don't need to tell you which one's cleaner. I gave you video that you can see which wave is cleaner. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that. I think there's a lot of good information there. And like I said, I want to hear from your comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you think I'm out to lunch. Tell me if you think that's good stuff or not, and let me know what topics you want to hear in the future, because I enjoy doing this. So stay tuned for the Supra SE video coming out next week. Stay tuned for more information about when we get our boat and what we're going to be doing. We have some really cool things planned for this summer.
Nothing says spring like a fresh baby goat. I can already tell this one's going to be delicious. Oh man, he's really cute.